Come, have a nice day. Today is Wednesday, 29th of March 2023. 29 March is celebrated as the birth anniversary of Henry Champman, Pincher Ramesh Bahandri Utpal Dutt, and Hanuman Singh. 29 March is also observed as the death anniversary of Lakshman Naik and K. Bhaskaran Nair. 29th of March 1857. Sepoy Mangal Pandey of the 34th Regiment Bengal Native Infantry mutinies against the East India Company's rule in India. It resulted in Indian Rebellion of 1857, also known as the Sepoy Mutiny. Sepoy Mutiny, 29th March. So, starting the newspaper, and let's see with the newspaper. The Hindu states that constitutional bodies fighting corruption under attack, says PM Modi. Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday made a scathing attack against what he termed conspiracies by forces within and outside the country to undermine constitutional institutions and bodies in the country that were cracking down on corruption and the corrupt. When investigation and enforcement agencies act against those wrapped in corruption, these agencies are attacked, says PM. The Hindu newspaper also states that Congress mulls motion against Lok Sabha Speaker of bias. The Lok Sabha failed to function on March 28 as the opposition MPs wearing black trooped into the well of the House, shooting slogans and throwing papers and at the Speaker's chair. A section of Congress MPs at a meeting held on a Monday mulled moving a resolution against the Speaker for being unfair or to the opposition, sources said. The party is likely to go ahead only after consulting all opposition parties, and if they are in agreement with the decision, Lok Sabha again fails to function after protesters over Adani issue. Opposition MPs staged a protest in the well of the Lok Sabha on March 28, 2023. The Hindu newspaper also states that now India to estimate tuberculosis TB burden using own system. India has become the first country in the world to estimate the tuberculosis burden in the country and launch its own mathematical system to estimate the disease burden. Health Ministry says global TB reduction numbers stand at 11%, while the reduction in cases in India is 18%. Here is the representation photo of tuberculosis patient receiving a medicine. Whereas the Indian Express newspaper states that Bombay liars body moves Supreme Court seeking action against Dhankar Rijiju over remarks on judiciary. The petitioner had claimed the said statements by the two were showing lack of faith in the constitution by attacking institutions, including the Supreme Court. The PIL had sought direction to restrain Dhankar and Kiran Rijiju from discharging their duties as Vice President and Union Minister, respectively. The Bombay Lawyers Association had sought orders to restrain Dhankar from discharging duty as the Vice President and Kiran Rijiju from discharging his duty as the Cabinet Minister for the central government. Indian Express also states that accelerate granting of IOE status. Parliamentary panel tells Center seeks status notes. The Rajya Sabha Department related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports has also recommended that the IOE scheme was realigned with the National Education Policy 2020. The 8 public institutions have been sanctioned rupees 3,428 crore so far since the launch of the scheme in 2017, with the Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru accounting for highest share with rupees 620.59 crore. Indian Express also states that license of 18 pharma firms cancelled in crackdown. Permission to manufacture particular products was also cancelled for 3 companies, according to sources in the Union Health Minister. Sources said that the action has been taken against 76 companies in the first phase of the special drive against the manufacture of substandard drugs. Going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper states that India to achieve a record of $760 billion exports in the financial year 2023, despite global headwinds. Goyal. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal on Tuesday said India's overall export, both goods and services combined, have already crossed a record of $750 billion mark, which comes in the 75th year of the independence as India celebrates the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Piyush Goyal argued the growth will not only measure in terms of economic progress but also in terms of social progress and the human development indicators. Hindustan Times also states that committee formed on the anti-competitive practices by big technological firms. Government tells us. A committee on digital competition law (CDCL) was constituted on the recommendation of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance to check on anti-competitive practices by big tech firms. The government told the parliament on Tuesday. The CCI conducted inquiries in three different matters related to the Google and Make My Trip Go airlines. Hindustan Times also states that Centre looks to push three key bills this parliament session. The government will try to seek parliamentary approval for three key proposal laws, including the Inter-Service Organization, Command Control and Discipline Bill 2023, with 4 more working days left in the current session. In this budget session, the government has transacted limited legislative business. Going towards the economy of the country, Adani stocks slide again. Flagship Adani Enterprises slump 7%. Shares of Adani Group companies fell on Tuesday, with flagship Adani Enterprises Limited slumping 7% on the BSE amid fresh concerns about debt repayment at highly leveraged conglomerate. Other group companies, including Adani Green Energy, Adani Total Gas, Adani Power, and Adani Wilmar, all declined by the maximum permissible 5% after the lower circuit was triggered. India comes under fire at WTO for avoiding questioning on MSP subsidy. Some countries have alleged that India did not give sufficient replies to concerns raised by them during consultations. India urges G20 to find ways to shrink widening trade gap. The first G20 Trade and Investment Working Group TIWG meeting under the India's presidency started in Mumbai on Tuesday, with Sunil Bharatwal, Secretary, Department of Commerce, emphasizing the need of trade finance cooperation among member countries to help reduce the widening trade finance gap. Commerce Secretary Steve's ADB estimates showing the trade financing shortfall has risen to $2 trillion. Bharatwal emphasizes a need for cooperation among the members to tackle the issue. India is pushing for greater cooperation among G20 member countries in addressing the growing shortfall in trade financing. Going towards the world news, including lawmakers grill United States regulators over Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Suu Kyi's party ordered dissolved in military-ruled Myanmar. World Health Organization changes COVID vaccine recommendations for high-risk population. United Kingdom Labour bars ex-leader Jeremy Corbyn from standing as its candidate at next election. Russian whose daughter drew anti-war picture gets 2 years jail but flees. Going towards the science and technology, prices of essential medicine is set to see a hike from April 1st. Painkillers, anti-infection drugs, cardiac drugs, antibiotics to get a dearer surge brought on by a sharp rise in wholesale price index. Pharma body sees annual change of 12.12% in WPI in 2022. A senior health ministry official said that the price hike was to ensure that there would be no shortage of medicines in the market and the manufacturers and the consumers mutually benefit. NCPCR writes to states to introduce concession for children with type 1 diabetes in schools. The National Commission of the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights (NCPCR) has written to the Chairman, Secretary, Education Boards of all states and union territories, stating it is the duty of schools to ensure that children with type 1 diabetes T1D are provided with the proper care and required facilities. It is the duty of schools to ensure that the children with T1D are provided with proper care and facilities, the letter says. The NCPCR has urged states and union territories to ensure that the children with type 1 diabetes are properly provided for. 10,727 tons of wheat produced, ban on exports continues. The Food Corporation of India chairman and managing director Ashok K. Meena said that Centre would continue the ban on wheat export till it was confident about the domestic supplies meeting the country's food security needs. Centre continued to the ban on wheat export till it is confident about the domestic supplies meeting the domestic country's food security needs. A farm worker harvests a wheat crop at a village on the outskirts in Gurgaon on March 28, 2023. Scientists support piezoelectric effect in liquids for the first time. Here is an illustration of electric current photo. At last, there's a famous quotation by a famous scientist, that's the Albert Einstein. 14 March 1879 is his birth anniversary. 18th April 1955 is his death anniversary. He was a German-born theoretical physicist, widely acknowledged to be one of the greatest and most influential physicists of all time. Einstein is best known for the developing of theory of relativity, but he also made important contributions to the development of the theory of quantum mechanics. Relativity and quantum mechanics are the two pillars of modern physics. His mass-energy equivalence formula E is equal to mc square, which arises from relativity theory, has been dubbed the world's most famous equation. His work is also known for its influence on the philosophy of science. He received the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics for his services to theoretical physics and especially for his discovery of the law of the photoelectric effect. A pivotal step in the development of the quantum theory, his intellectual achievements and originality resulted in Einstein becoming the synonymous with genius. Einsteinium, one of the synthetic elements in the periodic table, was named in his honor. Albert Einstein says a famous quotation. He states that any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. It takes a touch of genius and lot of courage to move the opposition of direction. Okay, thank you.